My name is Joshua Cease, and my presentation is on the ethics of Facebook's data collection. So as a quick overview, I'm going to talk about Facebook's business model, an ethical analysis of Facebook and their business model, talk a little bit about an individual's management of privacy, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, and responses that Facebook has taken and other companies have taken in response to that scandal. So Facebook's business model. 98% of Facebook's revenues are from advertisers. So the real customers of Facebook are not the users of the app, rather, it's the advertisers. And what makes Facebook so special is that they have a wide array of data from their users, which allows them to build targeting tools that allow advertisers to target a specific market with a high level of granularity. They collect attributes such as age, religion, ethnicity, interest, and even political opinions. They not only use this data to build very good advertising tools, but also to keep people on the app. So the more ads that Facebook shows its users, the more money they make because they charge per ad. So Facebook tries to make the user experience as captivating and irresistible as possible. So they can learn about a user's psychology in order to show them content that is best suited to them. When you sign up for an app like Facebook and post on it and interact with the various services that it provides, you in turn exchange some of your own personal information. This exchange seems very one-sided because users give up private information in return for very vague features with an ambiguous reasoning as to why. Facebook says that it collects data in order to provide a unique and personalized user experience across all their apps. However, when you look into Facebook's business model, their intention for collecting data is mostly for financial gain, as it is an extremely valuable asset that's core to their business model. Facebook lacks transparency and responsibility in managing this personal information, which leads to various scandals. For you to go into the settings of Facebook and change certain privacy settings, they make it very difficult for you to do it. And the algorithms that they use to process this data are proprietary and aren't available for the public to see what exactly is going on. Another thing that I would like to talk about is the individual's privacy management. And this brings up something called the privacy paradox, where there's a discrepancy between how individuals value privacy versus how they actually behave online. And this is especially apparent with the younger generation who tend to sign up for various online websites and social medias and just glaze over the privacy statements. So it's important for individuals to be educated and to conduct themselves online in a ways that mitigate collection of their own personal data. So things like deleting cookies, using ad blocking software, also turning off data tracking in app settings. Like I said before, most apps make this very difficult and confusing for you to do this because they need your data. Your data is an asset to them, so they're going to make it very hard for you to turn these settings off, although you can. So the next thing I would like to talk about is the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal. So Cambridge Analytica is a political consulting company that specializes in data analysis, and it was hired by the 2016 Trump campaign to help with targeted advertising. The goal of this was to influence potential swing voters into voting for Trump by creating 5 distinct psychological profiles based on certain data from Facebook. In this way, they were able to create certain messages to cater to each profile that would best impact them. The way that they accessed the data in the first place was through an app called This Is Your Digital Life, where users who downloaded the app would take a survey, thus consenting for their data to be collected, all of their Facebook data, in fact. And Cambridge Analytica actually found an exploit in the privacy settings of Facebook, which enabled them to have access to all of a consenting user's friend network. So originally, there were only 250,000 downloads of This Is Your Digital Life, which led to over 50 million accounts data being used by Cambridge Analytica. So although the original set of users, the 250,000, were consenting, the other 50 million were not. Despite Cambridge Analytica repeatedly violating Facebook's privacy policy guidelines, Facebook took little regulatory action and took a very passive approach to this. They just simply sent them a letter saying to delete the data, and they never followed up on this. They never actually checked to see if the data was deleted or not, which led to Mark Zuckerberg having to appear before Senate, and they were fined $5 billion. So what do data collecting ethics look like today, and especially in light of this scandal? Facebook removed their partner categories, which originally enabled third parties to use their own data in Facebook's advertising tools, which was risky for Facebook because they had no control of that data that was being used by their tools. They also removed the ability to acquire data from a consenting user's friend network. So how Cambridge Analytica originally got that data, they since patched that exploit per se. Although it is speculated that Facebook mostly made these changes due to bad publicity, and it can kind of be compared. Facebook can kind of be compared to a child who changes the rules of their own game whenever they need to or whenever it's to their benefit. So other things that have been implemented to correct data collection is the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR, which is a set of rules created by the EU that give the user control over their private information. So some of these rules are that whenever a user creates an account, they automatically opt out of data tracking. Instead of having to navigate the confusing settings hierarchy to turn off to turn off data tracking, it automatically is turned off, and a user has to consent as soon as they create the account if they want to. Also, other rules like if there's ever a data breach in their database, the organization needs to report that to all affected parties within 72 hours. Any rules that an organization breaks, they are subject to fines up to $25 million or 4% of that organization's revenues. Apple also introduced in a iOS update something called Apple Tracking Transparency, which, similar to GDPR, whenever a user downloads an app, they need to either opt in or opt out or they have the decision to either opt in or opt out of data tracking. You've probably seen this if you have an iPhone where you download an app and it says allow tracking or don't allow tracking. This is required for all of their apps. Apple also requires all applications to post very simple and easy to read privacy policy information on the App Store. Facebook's response to this was pretty negative, claiming that these new rules hurt small businesses because it takes away their ability to specifically target a certain market or certain markets that have a small segment. So in turn, it hurts small businesses. They also introduced a new pop-up message that encourages users to consent to collecting their data. So let's say a user has an iPhone and they download Facebook, they opt out of data tracking, and then Facebook has a new pop-up that says, well, if we collect your data, we can give you a better experience, a better, more personalized experience. So you should opt in instead of opting out. So in a sense, they kind of try to trick you. So that's it. Thank you for watching my presentation.